Hi everyone, my name is Clyde and you're watching Canva Crash Course Part 2. This is a multi-part series and by now part 1 should already be out and this is a continuation of that. So if you haven't checked out part 1 already, please click the link in the description below or see one of these cards that should be popping out on your YouTube screen. In part 2, we have a lot to cover and here's a sneak peek of what we'll cover in part 2. Now, before we get into one of these chapters, and if you haven't signed up to Canva already, you can click the referral link in the description below and join Canva. This will help you study alongside the video tutorial that you're watching. And of course, we all know that practice makes perfect. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now we're back to the Canva editor and we'll continue using the same design that we used in part 1. But what if you have moved the element and you don't like the ordering of the element? Like as you see this volcano, when I moved it over here, it has sort of gone behind this text. And this mountain over here is actually placed behind this volcano. So let's say if I want to change the layering of this, what I can do is I can right click on the layer that I want to change and I can click on bring forward to bring the layer forward. Now as you can see, the mountain is now in front of the volcano, and then I can move the volcano behind as well if I want to, and so on and so forth. And then similarly with the volcano as well, you can always bring it forward again if you want to, or you can send it back, or you can just click on show layers and that just shows you all the layers on this particular slide. So if I put my mouse over each and every layer, you can see that it highlights it. If I click on the moon, for example, or the sun or whatever this element was, it highlights it, it selects it, and then I can bring it forward and then it puts it on the topmost layer. I can also put this mountain back in the background where it was. I can just drag it at the back and I can bring this in the top. And as you can see now, the design of this particular page has changed just because we have changed the position and the layering of the different elements that was on the screen. Now let's say if you wanted to um, shift a few elements and you wanted to like move this mountain at the bottom in order to have more real estate on your slide. So, you want to add more text on your slide, for example, all good, right? You can drag the element to the bottom and you want to do that for each and every item. Now that is a bit tedious because you don't want to select each element and then keep dragging each element, right? You want a smarter way to do that. And to achieve that, what you want to do is you want to select all these mountains here. So I just dragged my cursor across these elements and all of them have got selected. Now, in case you have any additional element that has also got selected along with the elements that you actually want to select, you can just click on the shift key on your keyboard and then click on the element that you don't want to be included in this selection. Now, once you see that you have all these mountains, all these elements selected, now I can move this around and I can confirm that indeed all of these elements have got selected. I can move all these mountains, all these elements together to the very bottom. So now I have more real estate space on the top, and I didn't have to do that for each and every element. I just selected all the elements and did that together. In case I need to move this again, what it would be wise to do is to actually group all of them together. So if I click on group, now all of these elements have been included in a single group. All of the mountains in this particular design has been included in a single group. So now it is one element. Now when it is one element, I only have to click the element once, then I can move this to any location. So this is a really good tip to simplify your image, especially if multiple elements need to be grouped together. You can also drag this set inwards and outwards to resize it And then you can also rotate the entire set with just a single click. So that is again really, really useful. This does not mean that you can't select the individual elements. If you want, you can still select these individual elements by clicking on them specifically. And then if I want, I can always change the color of these elements, for example, or I can edit these individual elements if I want to. I select the entire group of elements and I do not want them to be grouped together anymore. I can just click on the ungroup option and it will ungroup all of these elements. When I click outside, it has sort of all of them have got unselected, and now I can move them individually as per my designs. I have ungrouped it. Now that we have had a look at how to move things around and layer them, let's take a look at this particular scenario. Now I am the editor of this design. I am constantly moving things around and placing things here. But by mistake, I click on the wrong element and I ended up moving this. I can always click on the Ctrl Z button to undo the mistake, but I don't want to accidentally be clicking on these background elements that shouldn't be really moved. What I can do instead is click on it and lock the item. So all I have to do is click on this particular padlock icon and it locks it. Now, even if I try to move it, it will not move. I can press shift and select multiple elements and then I can click on this lock icon again and it locks the elements. Now I cannot move these. Now if I do need to unlock the items, if I do need to or do decide to move these elements, I can click on them once again and click on the padlock icon once again. And now this is unlocked. Now let's say on a new page, if I add some text and if I want to start building the contents on this page and it should match the design from the previous one, I can manually check what font style and what font size has been used in the previous slides. But that is a manual tedious effort. What I can instead do, a simpler way to copy these styles is just to select the style that I like, click on the copy style button over here in the toolbar and then click on the element that I want to paste this style into. As you can see, the text has now been updated to the same font style and the same font size that this slide has. Now, if I want to add a link, up until now, we have only added regular text, but I can also convert a text into a link. Now, this is particularly useful if you want to link items from one page to another, or if you want to externally link a particular website from your design. This is especially useful if you are going to package your design as a PDF or a PowerPoint, then yes, links will really be useful. To do that, I can grab my text element and then double click either the entire text or just the area that I want to add this link or the hyperlink into, and then click on this link button here. So this only shows up when a text is selected, not the text element itself, the actual contents of the text is selected. So I click on the link and then as you can see here, either I can link it to one of the designs that I already have in my Canva account, or I can link it to one of the pages in this particular design itself, or I can paste in a link or any external link and then click on done. There you go. So that is done. Click on done and now my link is ready. Now if I just click this one here, it takes me to that particular external link. Now let's say if you've added a bunch of elements to your screen, maybe you've copied them from somewhere or just kept on adding or pasting content in, and you want the screen to look a bit tidy, you can shift and click on multiple elements and then use the space evenly option to tidy up the contents or spread them out vertically or horizontally. So for example, if I click on tidy up, you can see that it has just tidied it up horizontally. Now there's some sort of alignment to it, some sort of distribution to it. And now I can, if I want, I can resize them together, so on and so forth. Now, let's say if I want to add more elements to my slide, elements that are not already there on this particular design, what I can do is I can go on the left hand side and I can click on elements to see the list of elements, a bunch of different elements that I can add, right? I can add a sticker. I can add this sticker, for example, and this sticker just shows up on my window. And of course, it is a moving image, which is really good. Or I can add a 3D graphic from here. So I can just select, click on this, and it adds this 3D graphic to my design. And resize it and keep it over here. Or if I want some photos, I can just click on this photo or click on see all photo and actually just add whatever image that I want. I want a image of a volcano. I can actually search for the term volcano and then see all the images that show up in the results. The images with this pro icon means that you need a paid subscription to Canva to use the image. Otherwise, it would just add a watermark on the image. But there are a few images that don't have the watermark as well, and if you want, you can always add this image and place it in your on your slide, and then you use it as per whatever design you might have. If you want some graphics, some 2D graphics, you can add that as well. So it knows that it is volcano themed now, so you can add some more graphics as well. Very 2D graphics, again, because it is an SVG, you can actually change the color on the go, and you can place it on your design file wherever you want. And finally, you have also shapes. So you can still click on the shapes options and choose the different shapes that you might want to add. So you can maybe perhaps add an arrow, or if you want some more stars, you can add them as well. To get more real estate back, you can click on the close button to close the elements window, and then you have more space now to design your Canva design. Now, another way of adding images to your design is to actually use this photos option. So that's right over here. And if I click on that, you can see that over here in this screen, all it shows is photos. It doesn't show me graphics. It doesn't show me any other thing. It just purely shows me photos. So that's a little bit different from just using the elements screen on top, which also shows you photos, but it also shows you a bunch of other things. So let's say if using this magic recommendation, if I add this picture to my screen, now I have this image in my design, and then I can edit this image just like I can edit any other image. I can also right click this image and replace the background of this slide with this image. So if I do that, the background of the slide becomes the image. And if I did that by mistake, you know what to do. You can just click on the undo button. You can also right click the image and click on apply colors to page, and it sort of applies the color scheme of this image to your design. Now, another thing that you'll find is backgrounds. Now, although these are also images, but these are sort of filtered to be used as backgrounds only. And there's another difference. When you click on an image from the background tab, from the background item, from the sidebar, anything that you click on here will directly be added as the page background. So here it does not ask you if you want to just add the image, it will just apply that image as the background of the page. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, more ways to add elements to your design file that did not exist also include uploading content by yourself. When we click on uploads, you see that there's two options over here. One is to upload files, and the second is to record yourself. In terms of uploading files, you click on the three dots and you see you can upload files from Dropbox, from Google Photos, and from Google Drive. Today, we'll just take a look at uploading files from your computer, but the process is kind of the same thing. So you can select which directory you want to upload it from, and then click on an image that you might want to upload, and then your image now comes into the Canva library. This is your personal library, and it is only private to you only. Now, if I click on this image, I can add that image to my design, and then I can just go about designing from here. What you can also do is you can upload an SVG, as we have looked at in a previous part. the difference between uploading an SVG and an image, a regular image, is that SVG can then be edited on the go. So as you can see, this is what would be considered a standard image with a purple and white color over here. But because this is an SVG, I can actually edit the base color and convert it to a completely different color that might suit my design better. So when uploading or when creating content yourself for your own designs, do think about if this particular element should be an SVG or should it be a regular JPEG or PNG, a regular image file. Now we can also record our own self. When you click on the record yourself button, it brings up an interesting screen where it shows the slide. It is now picking the camera from my laptop and it is giving me some options to filter, to add some filters. As you can see, you can add some filters over here or some effects as well, but we'll just stick to the naturals. And then you can click on settings over here in the top right and select which one do you actually want to use. So you might have multiple sources. You can also click on either sharing a screen or a camera and sharing a screen. So if I click on camera and screen, I can select what screen I want to even share. So if I just attempt to do this, it kind of shares my entire screen. But let's not go into this infinite loop of recording content over here. Let's just stick with the regular camera, but you can try it yourselves and see how this works. And if I click on the record button, for example, it starts the countdown timer and then now it shows up the recording video where I can actually record myself. So it is recording the content right now. It is, as you can see, it is capturing my video from the camera. But now this recording is specifically only to this page. Now if I change the page, it will actually start recording a different content from that page. And so if I click on done, it is obviously recorded the content. I can just save and exit. There you go. So it has processed all the recording clips that I have just recorded while I was just demoing it to you guys. And it has made it available in the library, but it has also added one of the clips over here on the slide. So which is really pretty cool. I can always click on it and delete it or and then later if I want I can add it back again, or I can, as you can see, there's a few more options over here which allow me to edit the contents of this video clipping. Now one thing you'll notice that although while I was recording the content it was showing the slide, what it actually is recording is just yourself. So it is either recording the screen or the video and audio from the camera, but it is not recording the content of the slide itself. That was just for your reference. So I know this can be a bit to take on. So please do, if you have still not understood this, please do rewind a little on this video and have a look at how it was recorded and what the actual output is. So you'll actually notice the difference. So I absolutely don't mind you to pause this, reflect on this, and then come back again. And of course you'll have the bookmarks for you. Now I can always click on this edit this video. I can trim it to whatever contents I actually want. Click on done and then the clip becomes a lot more smaller. I can click on audio and maybe decrease the volume of this, extract the audio out, play around with these, or mute it as well and play around with these features. And then of course there's the color of the recording which completely overlays the color on top of it. So you might want to choose a more transparent color as you'll just be coloring on top of the recording. You have borders which can add a border over there. We have the round corners, which in this case doesn't really need to be because it's already a circle. You can crop the video recording to a certain extent, so that's doesn't give you too much options, but it allows you to just adjust the footage, the underlying footage in the cropped circle, and then click on done. And then you can flip the contents, flip the recording itself, decrease the transparency, animate it, position it, and there's the layering concepts again, and then of course you can copy the style. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do just from your recording alone. Once you've recorded yourself, it shows up in the library, and then boom, you have access to that content in your design. Now there's another way to specifically upload images to your Canva design, is to just use the simple screenshot. So on Windows, if I click on Windows Shift and S, I can bring up the snipping tool, which allows me to snip uh, screenshots from any page, and then I can just do a Control V to paste that particular image onto my design, but it also in the background uploads it to my image library. Now, the keyboard shortcuts that I just mentioned to take a screenshot of a particular website, or your computer, and the keyboard shortcut to paste the image is Windows based. And then of course, if you're using Mac, you'll use the equivalent keyboard shortcuts over there. Once you have the image, again, you have the same functionality available like any other regular image. That's cropping, that is borders, flipping, crops, transparency, all of these. So it is just a regular image after that. Now we've basically looked at adding media elements from the left sidebar, which is from the elements, and of course from the uploads, both of which is either images or videos. But what if you wanted to add text? Well, you guessed it right. You can click on text, and that allows you to add absolutely new text to your slides. So I can just click on add a text box, and it does that. And then you can edit the text as per your wish, and the same toolbar is available over here, which we have looked at previously, allowing you to customize your text format. What you can also do is from the left sidebar add pre-built text combinations. So if I like one of these styles and I wonder how to style my text in a similar fashion, I can just click on it, and then it brings me the text in my design. And then from here, then I can either copy the style, or I can double click it and inspect how this particular text was styled, and then I can replicate it onto any of my text in my design. Now these ones are marked as pro, which means you do need a paid account, but the ones that are not marked as pro, you can always use it for free. Now let's say if I do have an image with me and I want to edit this particular image, Canva does offer me the functionality to filter these images. So if I click on this edit button over here, it brings me heaps of options which I can use to add a little bit of an effect and filters to my image. So if I click on the adjust button here, you can see that there's a whole bunch of options that you can use to adjust how the image looks like. So I can increase the brightness, I can decrease the contrast, I can add a bit of tint, so on and so forth. So all of these options you might be actually quite familiar if you have been using any sort of image editing tool before. You can always click on the reset adjustment button to reset the values to what it was originally. I can also click on the filters to use one of these pre-built filters. I don't need to create this from the scratch. I can just click on one of these options, and then it just filters the image based on the particular filter that I've selected. All I can do here is increase or decrease the intensity of that particular filter effect on my image. And then if I don't like one of these filters, I can click on none, and it resets it back to what my original image was. There are also some effects that you might want to have a look at. One of the most popular ones is blurring an image, and this particular effect opens up this editor which allows me to add blur either to the whole image or to a section of the image. So I can just click on the brush size, I can decrease or increase it, increase the intensity, and then absolutely just add some blur to the image, and then just does a job. I can click on the remove blur to remove all the blur that I've just added, and then I can exit this particular screen, and then it brings me back to the slide. I have all of these other effects as well which work similarly. There are a few apps as well over here, what you see at the bottom, but we'll look at that in another video. So Stay tuned. Now, in terms of collaboration on your design file with your team members, Canva provides quite a few options. One of them is comments. You can either add comments on the entire file, entire page itself. So if I click on this comments here, I can say, this is a new comment and I can add a comment. I can also reply to the comment. I can reply with an emoji. I can also tag somebody and I can submit the comment. And then I can also add a sticker to my comment and attach that. So as you can see, there's quite a few things that you can do with the comment, but we are not limited to page comments alone. We can click on a particular element and add a comment over there as well. I just typed a comment specifically for this particular text element alone, and you can do that for any element on your design file. Now, let's say if you have your team members adding all these comments, you can have a look at them. If you have liked it, you can add a reaction to that, or if you have addressed their comment, you can mark a comment as resolved, and then that comment just goes away. I can also click on the top right button here and look at all the comments that were on the page. So I can say I can filter it by current page, or I can just filter it by all. I can filter it by the ones that are assigned to me specifically, and it just shows up all of these comments. Now I can also edit a particular comment. I can delete comment. I can also copy a link to the comment. And this is again very useful. Now when you tag someone, the comment is assigned to the person. And as you can see in the filters over here, when I click on for you, or which is for me, I can see all the comments that have assigned to me. And then if I don't want to see all the comments, I can just hide comments and all of them disappear. If I click on it again, the comments appear once again. Now Canva provides the option to preview how your content will look like when a user is editing it, when a user is only viewing it, and when a user is commenting it. So for example, now this is what my Canva screen looks like because I have edit rights. I have edit access to this design file, but you can switch this to commenting. So let's say the user that you have shared this with does not have edit access, only has comment access. This is what their screen would look like. They'll only be able to comment. They cannot edit the file. And if you have shared it with a user who only has view access, then they cannot even comment. They can only view your file, and this is what they will see. When sharing your Canva design with someone else, you can click on the share button, and then you have the option to share it over here with specific people. You can either add the person's name. So in this case, let's say if I was sharing with another team member who's already in my account, I can just add their name in and decide if I provide them with edit access, comment access only, or view access only. And then I can also add new members to my Canva design, and I can share it with them via an email, add an optional message, and then also make sure that I'm giving them the right permissions to my design, and then click on the share button, and then this will share the design with those people. That same option of sharing it with specific people is also over here. You can see that this is yourself, and the plus button will bring you back to the same screen where I can again share it with specific people. Now I can also click on the share button over here and then create a collaboration link. Now over here, I can click on this option over here, which says only I can access, or anyone with the link can access the design. So if I click on that, it provides or it creates a link, but I have to make sure here that I decide what can the person do when they receive that link. So if they receive the link, can they edit the design? Can they only comment and not edit, or can they only view? So by default it goes to can edit. So please be vigilant that when you create a collaboration link with anyone with the link, do make sure that you set the right permissions over here. And then if you copy the link over here, and then let's say if I open a guest browser, I'm not signed in, it is a public access, but because I had edit access, I can actually make changes to the design. As you can see, I can change the font size of the design and changes to any page in this design. And then if I go back, I will see that the changes are showing up, and I can see an anonymous user on the top right of my screen as well. So I can see that there's a member of the public. I don't know who it is. He's accessing my design. So I can see that in real time, which is pretty cool. Now I can always go back to that share button and then switch this to only I can access so that the link is no longer going to be valid. Now if I go back to my guest mode and hit the same link again, you can see that the design file is no longer accessible because I just deleted the link. I made sure that that link only can be accessed by me. And I also have another option of sharing. And I know you might be thinking there's so many options over here. And I feel the same. But I'm here to show you all these options, and it depends really upon you which one do you want to use. So there's another option called public view link. If I click on this link, I can see a message which tells me that it is going to create a public link with only a view access. So it is kind of similar to what we did previously, but in this it is already presetting the link with a view access. So that is really good if you already know that that is what you're after. So if I create the public view link, and then if I copy the link over here, and then in my guest browser, if I paste that link, you can see that the design file is opened as a view only, in a view only mode, and it's almost like opened as a presentation. So technically this is just a presentation for a anonymous user, and I can use the arrows to go left and right. All the animation does show up, all the GIFs does show up, and I can zoom in and out of the design. I can also click on 3 dots and see some more options. I can do a full screen mode, and so on and so forth. So it is basically, if you want to share your design with an anonymous person who does not, or a person who does not have a Canva account and needs only a view access to your design. As you can see on my screen, it clearly shows that this public view link is live, and hopefully that is enough to catch your attention. And if you no longer require that, I urge you to come back to that link and then delete it, so that people who actually have access to that link no longer are able to view your design. You can also use Canva as a presentation tool. So if you're used to using PowerPoint or Slides, Google Slides, it's kind of the same concept, but you don't need to export it to their formats. If you're designing or creating your slides in Canva, you can use Canva itself to present your slides. And all you got to do is that once you have your presentation ready, you just click on the present button and click on present button once again to open up the presentation. And then you have this cursor which shows you exactly where it is. So there's this blue color circle over there. You can navigate between pages using the mouse or the cursor, and then you can also click on keyboard arrows to navigate between the pages, and that is quite useful. And as you can see, all the animations that might already exist or what you've created does show up with the presentation. It is full screen, so it is very, very slick. So you come back to your editing screen, and now let's say if I'm on page number 1, I add some notes. There you go, I've added some presenter notes. And then if I decide to present again, I can open up the presenter view by clicking this button bottom right. And then over here, I see that there's this window where I can control the slides. And then I can also see the presenter notes on the right. And then there's a timer running over here on the top left. So this presenter window is only visible to me. The people who I'm presenting it with won't be able to see this. This is really useful if you have two separate screens. It makes it really smooth, and then you don't have the problem of having two browser windows open. But this is just common problems if you're working with a single screen computer only. Now in your presentation pack, if you don't want a particular slide to be showing up in your final presentation, you can click on this eye icon which hides the page. There you go, the page is now hidden. And then now if I present this slide, I can see in the slide pack it goes from this page to straight away the third page because the second page was hidden. We can also look at the presenter view from this particular screen. So if I click on this, it sort of previews how the presenter screen would look like. It's just showing me that on this preview window. But of course, if I do this, it goes back to what it what the full screen visualization would look like. And then I can also do present and record if I do want to record myself as well, and then autoplay if the whole thing just needs to be played as a individual slide pack alone. So you can just do that, and then you don't have to click the buttons. You can just let that play, and then you can do your presentation on the slide hands-free. So those are some presentation options that come along with Canva. Now here are some small productivity tips. In Canva, when you're in the editor mode, you can see that this little icon over here, which is called quick actions. This is basically like a global search that allows you to just search for anything and just add it to your design. So if I search for car, for example, it just shows up all the results of cars, and then I can select one of these options and then just add it to my design. Now these are some pro options as well. So depending on what it is, you might need to see exactly what you're adding. And then if you're clicking on see all, it opens up the elements tab with the same search results. So that's just a quick way of finding anything with a search, and you don't have to play around with the entire design. You just have this global search here at the bottom left that allows you to search and add stuff to your design. Another productivity tip here on the home page is that you can for the projects that you frequently visit the most, you can actually click on this star icon over here. So you can just click on this star icon, another star icon, and then it adds your projects to your favorites. Now, where do you see the favorites? If you have noticed, it adds it to the starred items over here on the left. You got, instead of scrolling through a bunch of design content, you can just click on the starred items from here from the left, and then it just opens up that particular design. Now I can also go to the projects tab here in the left sidebar, and projects is the same as folders. It is exactly the same. It's just named a bit differently, but it is the same thing. Now I can click on add a new folder, and I will rename this to project XYZ, and then that project has been created over here. What I would recommend doing is that if you are organizing your files, do use folders, and then you can also star the particular folder over here. Then on the home page, you can see that I have the starred items along with the project or the folder that I just starred as well. And then I can click on one of these. I can just navigate to one of these designed files and then drag and drop them into the folder straight away. Now this then adds it over here. If I click on the folder, it shows up the contents of the folder, but you see that the access becomes so much quicker if I have just organized content in a folder, and then if I have put my designs in a particular folder as well, and then just dragged and dropped them from the home screen into the folder, and then view the contents, or click on it and then access the design file. So that's just a couple of tips over there. All right, that was it for Canva Crash Course part number 2. I hope you really liked this video. If you do like it, give it a thumbs up. Do comment down below and ask me any questions, or just let me know down in the comments if you like the video. Don't forget to share this video with your network, and also don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. There's a lot of things that we've covered here, but of course that's not the end of the series. We have part 3 coming out as well, and here's a sneak peek of what we will cover in Canva Crash Course part 3. So I do urge you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you get notified when part 3 of this crash course gets published, gets released on this YouTube channel. Until then, just stay tuned. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching and for sticking around till the end. I will see you in another video. So stay tuned and stay happy. Bye for now.